Today, we're diving into the story of a man who, really with just the power of his own mind, completely changed how we see the universe and our place in it. His name? Nicolaus Copernicus.
I mean, what a statement, right? You know, the old story goes that Archimedes once boasted he could move the entire Earth if he just gave him a long enough lever and a place to stand. Well, fast forward 1700 years, and Copernicus, he actually did it. Not with some giant lever, but with nothing more than pure logic.
So let's set the scene. Picture this. It's May 24th, 1543. Nicolaus Copernicus is 70 years old, and he's on his deathbed. Meanwhile, his life's work, this one book that is about to change everything, is being rushed from the printers in this desperate race against time.
And the timing here is it's unbelievable. Almost tragic, really. A printed copy of his revolutionary book is finally placed in his hands. But his mind, his memory, they're already gone. He died that very same day with absolutely no idea of the thunderbolt he had just unleashed on the entire world.
So that's the big question, isn't it? What on earth was in this book that was so revolutionary, so dangerous, that it had to wait until the author's dying day just to see the light? Well, to get that, we've got to first understand the universe as everyone, including Copernicus, knew it back then.
You see, for an idea to be this revolutionary, it has to be pushing against something huge, something that's been accepted for ages. And that's exactly what Copernicus was doing. He was challenging the entire accepted model of the heavens.
Think about this. For 1,400 years, pretty much everyone just knew, without a doubt, that the Earth was the fixed, unmoving center of everything. This model, cooked up by the Greek astronomer Ptolemy way back around 150 AD, it really seemed to make sense, right? I mean, you look up and the sun, the moon, the stars, they all look like they're circling us. But there was this one massive, really nagging problem.
Okay, so here was the problem. Astronomers, they're watching the planets, right? And they notice something really bizarre about Mars. Most of the time, it drifts eastward across the night sky, just like you'd expect. But then, it would kind of slow down, stop, and actually start moving backward for a bit before going forward again. This weird little dance was called retrograde motion, and in a simple Earth in the middle universe, it just made zero sense.
Now, Ptolemy's solution was, well, it was clever, I'll give him that, but it was also incredibly complicated. He said, okay, planets aren't just orbiting Earth in one big circle. No. He imagined them moving in a small circle, they called it an epicycle, and the center of that little circle was moving along a much bigger circle around the Earth. It's like a spinning plate on top of a bigger spinning plate. And as observations got more precise, they just had to keep piling on more and more circles just to make the math even remotely work.
And this really gets to the heart of the issue. By the 1500s, this whole Ptolemaic system was just a mess. It was this clunky, overly complicated contraption. Yeah, it kind of worked, sort of, but it just felt wrong. It was so complex, and it always needed these little fixes and adjustments. So Copernicus looks at all this and thinks, come on, there has to be a simpler, more beautiful way to explain this.
And this is where Copernicus steps onto the stage. He's ready with his big, groundbreaking idea. And listen, this wasn't just about making a few little tweaks to the old model. Oh no, this was about tearing the whole thing down to the studs and starting over, with a completely radical new center for the universe.
I mean, Copernicus was the definition of a Renaissance man, a true polymath. This guy was good at pretty much everything he tried. He was a sought-after doctor, a lawyer, a church administrator, you name it. But it was while he was studying in Italy that this new passion just completely grabbed him. He had to figure out the heavens.
Now, here's an interesting thing. The idea of a sun-centered or heliocentric universe wasn't actually brand new. Way back, an ancient Greek thinker named Aristarchus had suggested it, but, he was pretty much ignored. So Copernicus's real genius wasn't just coming up with the idea, it was in proving with just absolutely devastating logic that it was the only idea that actually made any sense. And this is what makes him so incredible. You have to remember, the telescope wouldn't even be invented for another 75 years. He didn't have any new, fancy, high-tech instruments. All he had to work with was the same data everyone else had, and the sheer unstoppable force of his own mind.
And his logic was just beautiful in how simple it was. First up, that weird backward motion of Mars? Not real. It's just an illusion, created when our faster-moving Earth laps a slower outer planet. Boom, problem solved. Second, why are Mercury and Venus always hanging out near the sun? Simple. because their orbits are inside of ours. Boom, problem solved again. And finally, the math was just cleaner, so much more elegant. His new system explained everything with this beautiful, simple clarity.
Okay, so if his system was so logical, so elegant, why did he wait? Why hesitate for decades and only publish on his deathbed? Well, Copernicus knew that this wasn't just about astronomy. This was about us. It was about humanity's entire place in the cosmos.
And this timeline really shows you just how careful he was. He actually wrote the main manuscript way back around 1530, but he only let a few friends see it. It took 10 years and a really devoted student, a guy named Rheticus, to finally publish just a summary of the idea. It was only after that summary got a nod of approval from Pope Clement VII that Copernicus finally agreed to publish the whole shebang, right as his health was giving out.
And you know what? His caution was totally justified. Just listen to this quote from Martin Luther, one of the most powerful religious figures of the time. The pushback wasn't just scientific debate. People were saying his ideas went against the Bible itself. To say the Earth wasn't the center of everything, well, to a lot of powerful people, that was straight-up heresy.
But here's the final crazy twist in the story. While Copernicus is literally on his deathbed, the guy overseeing the printing, a pastor named Andreas Osiander, he gets cold feet. He gets nervous. And without asking anyone, he secretly adds a preface to the book that basically tells everyone, hey, don't take any of this seriously. He tried to pass it all off as just a bunch of mathematical hocus pocus to make calculations easier, not a description of how the universe really is. And that, as you can imagine, really watered down the book's initial impact.
But you can't hide a truth that big behind some cowardly preface. In the end, what Copernicus did was so much more than just swap the Earth and the sun. He demoted us. He showed us that our home, our planet, wasn't the special center stage of the universe after all. We were just another planet. And that single idea cracked open the door for science to start wrestling with the concept of an infinite universe and to think about time not in thousands of years, but in billions. He truly set the human mind free to reach for the stars.
So the man who moved the Earth, he also expanded our minds. His story is this incredible reminder that what feels like an unshakable, absolute truth today could be completely tossed aside tomorrow. And it leaves us with a pretty big question for our own time, doesn't it? If Copernicus showed us a physical infinity out there in space, what's the next great, seemingly impossible infinity that's just waiting for us to discover?